Oh shit.
Don't blame me. I am but a man.
Yeah. I don't blame you. I mean, boobs are better than us anyway, so.
Yeah, it's blonde 25-year-old, bro. Like, what do you want out of me?
We know what she wants out of you, Andrew. Oh
we know
shit! I
you
said
want
that
in
on
her.
live.
I mean,
We said that on live.
Yeah,
whatever.
she's the one who laughed. Who I laughed about last week when I was me and Chris when I was laughing about the whole reason I don't dye my beard or anything is because she was like, "No, the gray looks really good," and I'm like, "And I'm not gonna go anywhere near hair dye now." So
You don't. You got a new car. You don't need to dye the beard.
Right?
I mean, yeah, I
He's
suppose
got
I
his
could.
midlife crisis car now.
Yeah, yeah. Your midlife crisis is good, bro. You're fine.
Yeah, all right. I mean, that's true. That's true.
New
I'll
new
do
job,
that.
new fancy car,
Yeah,
new fancy hats. Woo! I saw those.
dude, I love those hats. Somebody when I first got those, like somebody said, "Welcome to your latest addiction." I'm like, I just wanted a few. Nope, I understand now. You go, oh, but that color works with. Oh, but that. Damn it! Stop.
Yep.
Andrew will now become like your typical female with shoes, only with hats.
Dude, I'm already like that with hats. Have you not seen the door to my office? It is hats from the
But
top
he's-
to the bottom.
Not recently, I haven't. but
He's now he's a domestic Peaky Blinder. I've
Now
seen the
he's
coats. I've
missing
seen the
his
coats
cat ears.
too. I've seen the coats too.
Yeah,
So you got the hats, the coats in the car, and the blonde 25-year-old.
The red right
You
hand
know-
is going to start playing as I walk in to places. I'm going to be like, left, actually. I'm left-handed. It's,
Left-handed, minus 10 points.
the only thing Andrew's missing is the big dollars to go with the incredibly young girlfriend, the expensive car.
Jack called you a pretty kitty.
I did say the only thing missing was the cat ears.
hey, you know what? Speaking of which, this is the correct length now. This is a correct length necklace, and
It's not a choker now.
It is, yeah, it's not a choker anymore, so I do not have a guillotine choker. I might still get cat ears. I don't know. It's
I did buy some. I did buy some foil, and I was thinking about foil cat ears. Just, I mean, shits and giggles, foil cat ears. I mean, come on now.
tinfoil hat with cat ears.
Right. I figured that out.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
that would cause Jack to twitch.
Probably.
I'll give him something to fap about.
It's so the government can't read my mind, senpai.
Piano wire necklace.
Booga woo 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 woo.
I don't know. You guys notice I went with different backdrop today because of the
Yes.
anniversary.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. But before we get there, let me remind you that we are covered by the BIPCOT no government license, which allows for the use and the reuse of this podcast by anyone and everyone except for governments and the bludgies thereof. You can learn more about that at bipcot.org. That's BIPCOT.org. We're also covered by Brandenburg v. Ohio 1969, which ruled that the government cannot punish inflammatory speech unless that speech is, quote, directed to inciting or producing imminent lawless action and is likely to incite or produce such action. Therefore, everything said here on Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable discussion is entirely hypothetical. See, Andrew, that's how it's supposed to go.
You know what? I got real close. Okay, I may have butchered it a little, but I was almost there.
No, not even.
If
No,
I'm
you ATF'd the intro. All right.
just burned it mercilessly.
You Waco'd the
the
intro.
intro.
That's how it's supposed to be. But
I tried to bail him out. It did not go well. But
Yeah, and you butchered it too, jerk. What are you talking about?
I said I tried.
But he just lightly butchered it because he's not the button. He wasn't the button pusher.
See?
Heavy as the head that wears the tinfoil crown. I'm sorry. Oh. Yes, Jack. I am Duncan Lip. Today is the 3rd anniversary of the murder of Mr. Limp. Yeah.
Yep.
Our lawyer has advised us not to go too deep into that one.
Yes, yeah. On the advice of our attorneys, we are not to go too far into our discussion of our feelings on Duncan Limp's murder.
Yeah, we're saving up bail money for the Waco episode in a couple weeks. But yeah, 3rd anniversary of Duncan's murder. No knock raid. Shot him in bed next to his pregnant girlfriend
While he was asleep.
through the window. Through the window.
So some would call that murder. I would call it just straight up execution.
Yeah, it's either way. But the
result is the same.
No charges on the cop.
Well, there's a big surprise.
Yeah.
Well, they shot him, I mean, through the window while he's asleep, laying in bed.
Yeah, because he allegedly saw a rifle leaned up against the wall.
Yeah, you gotta be careful about them inanimate objects. You never know; they might jump out, fucking bite you.
Meanwhile, the police are actively across the country trying to get weaponized robots.
Mm-hmm. Yep, killbots. This is also, since we're on the topic of anniversaries, 3 years ago this week was the first of the lockdowns for the COOF.
I remember those days like they were yesterday.
Yeah, March 16th. That was the first lockdown that we had here in the San Francisco Bay Area.
It was March 24th when I made the meme about the Calumet County Sheriff's deputies harassing the mother.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, lovely anniversaries there. Woohoo! I said Hong Kong Fluey wrong.
Hong Kong Fluey.
Yeah. 3 years ago this week was the start of 2 weeks.
2 weeks to slow the spread, which turned into 52 weeks to slow the spread,
which then
104 weeks.
I was gonna say 104 weeks to slow the spread.
But hey, we can't mention that it escaped from a lab because that's racist.
That spread got so slow. Just so slow. That spread was like molasses in January, huh?
Spread slower than a preacher's daughter prom date.
Slower than Andrew trying to be on time.
I would have been.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah, the Shell's brought up in the chat, the winner of death. Yes, our winner of sickness and death. That's man, how did we survive?
I died 3 times that winter. It was terrible.
Got better.
I'm not dead yet.
He says
he's not dead yet.
He says he's not dead. Yes, he is. I'm not. He isn't. Well, he'll be soon. He's very ill.
I had to pay the bring out your dead lady twice to get off her cart.
I'm not dead. In fact, I'm feeling better. I think I'll go for a walk. Shut up. You're not fooling anybody.
That reminds me of the other meme where it was the bring out your dead guys. You remember him? And it's a bloody wood chipper spraying into the back of a truck. This is him now.
The more you notice, the more I claim you're racist. Yeah, everyone's a racist, Jack. Come on now. You know that. We're all racist. We're racist for bringing up Duncan Limp's murder.
And calling it a murder.
Yep.
Yeah, we're apparently right-wing extremists, which is the dumbest freaking. Do you know how not right-wing we are? Do you know how much we hate right-wing people?
I was hilarious. Have you guys heard about the eminent domain thing going on around the Alamo?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
hashtag irony.
Right. So
it's not okay. Hold on. The Alamo Memorial isn't actually at the site of the Alamo.
No.
Yeah. I know.
Like the actual Alamo is like miles out of town.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So this is just their designated commercial spot where they
Right.
decided that, hey, this is where the Alamo's going to be. This is where we're going to get the tourists to go.
Well, right, because it's in or near a city,
Yes,
and so they bring the tourists into town rather than the middle of bumfuck Egypt.
yes, in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
Whereas, but around that memorial, I find it hilarious that there's one guy who's like, I don't want to sell my property, and I'm not going to take the value that you guys are offering me for it. I had some nut job who claimed to be a conservative tell me that it was because the guy obviously wants to sell, but he didn't want the money or the value that they were attributing to his property. Well, then it's his property to just do with it as
Yeah.
he pleases.
Well,
Yeah. He
Well,
can
doesn't
price
give the
he can price it at $1 trillion if he wants.
Yep. And
Or he can price it at 35 cents.
Yep. And the guy's like, well, that's the whole reason why they're using eminent domain is because he's going to get fair market value. I said, well, what's fair market value?
Government market value is not fair market value.
Fuck no, it isn't.
no, it's like government market value is based on what essentially what the tax assessor is going to assess property at, which is about 35 to 40% less than what fair market value is.
Yes.
Yes. Unless it's in terms of calculating your property taxes.
Yes.
Well, no, because even your property taxes aren't based on actual fair market value; they're based on tax assessed value, and that is about on average right now in the current market about 35 to 40% low.
Yeah. That's a good segue. You want to talk about that bank real quick?
Sure.
The bank that everybody's talking about.
One of
the two
banks.
big ones that just happened.
Three.
Oh, there's a third
There's
one now?
3 banks. There's 3 banks.
I've only heard of
There's
the
3
two.
banks now. Oh, don't worry, guys. It's not going to be 2008 all over again. Oops.
There's two in Silicon Valley, right? And then there was another one in New York.
I knew about one in Silicon Valley and one in New York. I didn't know about the other Silicon Valley one.
Yeah, so the other one in Silicon Valley is, oh God, what's it called? Central something or other, but it's a crypto bank.
Oh.
Right. So it's not like, FDIC insured deposits and all that other stuff. So, what is the name of that other one? Silvergate. Silvergate is the other one. It's in Silicon Valley. And it's a crypto bank, which again, if you don't hold the keys, it's not your crypto.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's why you don't put it in an exchange, right? You put it in a fucking wallet.
Yes. So Jack says, hey friend, chin up, it's gonna get worse. Yeah, it has to get worse. It has to get worse. Because the worse it gets, the more people it pisses off.
Yep.
Don't worry, friend. I know it's bad now, but trust me, it's going to get much worse.
Yes.
Yes.
But that bank, the whole thing with the bank is that it was a market correction, right? It's not like it didn't collapse on its own. It was a market correction, right? With the interest rates going up, people started walking away from their home loans. Mortgages are starting to default, and the bank took a huge hit, right? J.P. Morgan Chase issued a warning about this bank in November that this was going to happen, that this bank had $16 billion in liabilities in November. Right?
Yeah,
so this didn't come out of the blue.
Yeah,
No.
they were struggling with solvency for quite some time, to the point where regulators are the ones who actually shut them down because they were below what's required to be considered a solvent bank in the United States.
Can I read you guys a headline real quick? This is the Daily Mail. The Daily Mail has the absolute greatest headlines.
Yeah, they do.
The Daily Mail has the absolute greatest headlines. So SVB had no head of risk assessment for 9 months before it collapsed, as woke boss for Europe, Middle East, and Africa was busy organizing a month-long pride campaign and lesbian visibility day.
Boy, that's so much more important than figuring out how to not have your $300 billion bank fail.
Well, shit, it was just a couple of weeks ago. They had a woke retreat somewhere in Tahoe.
Yep. Yeah.
It was an inclusivity retreat. Basically, no
heads-
straight white men allowed.
All the heads of the bank, they're all diversity hires.
Yeah.
By the way, just putting that out there.
Right, because the problem is that affirmative action, right, and we've been saying, those of us who understand what affirmative action really is, we've been saying this since the late 90s, right, that affirmative action has no language for merit.
Yes.
You can't earn anything in affirmative action. You simply are born with a specific trait, and then it chooses you, and that this is, itself inherently racist. And the fact that people don't seem to notice this is troubling.
Yeah, like the firefighter in New York, the female black firefighter in New York a couple years ago, that failed her physical because she couldn't drag a guy out of a burning house, and then broke her leg trying to climb into the truck. But they had to keep her on staff because they didn't have enough diversity hires.
Yes. Because that makes perfect sense.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the whole thing, right? Like, this is like wanting to be inclusive, to otherwise marginalized individuals is an honorable thing to try to do, right? Yep. Like, that's an honorable thing that you're trying to do. But when you are so obsessed with doing that you forget that, like, I don't know, you have a $300 billion bank to run. You have your priorities in the wrong place. Like, worry about keeping the thing moving and working.
Yep.
First, let's worry about that.
You got to keep the business functioning before you worry about inclusivity.
Yeah, and this had ripples. It had some ripples. Was it like Oprah has like $500 million in the bank?
A full billion.
Like a bunch of crypto people that had money in the bank, and some Silicon Valley people that had money in the bank. Well,
yeah, I mean, with Silicon, so SVB less than 2.7%, if I remember correctly, 2.7% of its. Yeah, we're below 250K, and we're therefore FDIC insured, which means that 97% of that $300 billion is just gone.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. Janet Yellen first came out. Janet Yellen, the Federal Reserve chairman, Janet Yellen came out and said, "Oh no, fuck you, we're not bailing you out."
Treasury Secretary.
And then a bunch of celebrities came out saying that they had money in that bank. Hey, I wish you guys should help us. Blah 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 blah. And then Mark Cuban came out and said we should really bail this bank out, or the wealthy people are going to take a hit.
And then all of a sudden they're like, there's going to be a bridge bank.
All of a sudden, Janet Yellen's like waffling back and forth on bailing out the bank.
Well, I just read something earlier where they were going to use a bridge bank that was going to actually manage the assets of.
Yeah, so it's the same thing as like Lehman Brothers, right? Lehman Brothers didn't actually cease to exist until 2022.
Okay, hold on. The Lehman Brothers collapse. This is not a Lehman Brothers situation.
Yeah.
Right? Yes, it's bad. Yes, it's going to have ripples. But this is a market correction caused by the interest rate boosts.
Remember, Lehman Brothers was literally twice the size of this thing.
Yes. This is not a Lehman Brothers situation. It will have ripples. There will be some market corrections. But it's not a, let's throw money at it until the problem goes away.
Well, and Lehman Brothers too. Lehman Brothers was a different kind of collapse, right? This is a solvency collapse. Lehman Brothers didn't have a solvency collapse. Lehman Brothers was they became bankrupt.
Yeah, because of the mortgage crash.
Yes, and so they had to be liquidated. A process that was not over again until I think March of last year, so about a year ago. It took 14 years to liquidate $600 billion in assets.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. But Lehman Brothers, effectively Lehman Brothers didn't collapse. Lehman Brothers became bankrupt.
Yes.
Right.
There is a huge difference between those two things. This is a true collapse where the bank just simply had more liabilities than it could possibly actually pay on, to such an extent that regulators forced it to shut down.
It overextended itself.
Yeah. Lehman Brothers was their issue, like 2008, that issue was that when you had negative interest rates coming out from the Fed,
Mhm.
and you had Fannie Freddie buying all of these loans that were negative interest rates and crap, so you didn't actually have amortization on the loans. There was no possible way anyone could ever make money on that, even if somebody paid that loan back.
Right.
And those loans weren't getting paid back. And so it's just a bunch of bad bets, and eventually enough bad bets, and Tiny gets sent to your door to take his pound of flesh.
Yeah. So Scheller says, "Why is it the banks can mess up and lose money, but my credit card always remembers?" It's because the banks and credit card companies have better lobbyists than you do.
Yep.
Rich people get to play by a different set of rules, man. Like, look at HSBC, right? HSBC got proven to be laundering money for terrorist cells and despots the world over and drug cartels and all these other things. Proven to be doing this. And instead of arresting them, the U.S. government said, well, yes, they should all be in prison, but that would cause the bank to collapse, and it's too important, so we can't arrest them. So, like, you can literally be too rich to go to jail.
Too big to fail.
Yep. Too big to fail.
Too big.
Too influential to actually suffer any consequences.
Yeah. Pretty much. Like the what's the oxycodone makers? Right? How much money did they make? Like 50 or 60 billion dollars worth of profit, and their fine was like $1.5 billion.
Yeah. It's like, oh, they had to pay this gigantic fine. Yeah, but it's a tiny fraction compared to the money they made killing people by pushing the overprescription of opiates.
Not only killing people, but destroying families, destroying communities.
Yep.
And all that happened was a 1% fine.
Yes. Can we talk for a second about William Wallace? I don't know, just randomly I felt like bringing this up.
Freedom!
So climate protest.
He actually didn't do that.
Climate protest at the Wallace Monument. They spray painted all over and then smashed the glass case containing William Wallace's sword. So now they're checking the sword for damage. Because of all the, my favorite comment on that was that line in Braveheart where he shot fireballs from his eyes and bolts of lightning from his arse. Think of all the carbon output he did.
Actually, you know what's really funny about William Wallace? And okay, yeah, I know somebody's gonna say Professor Andrew. Okay, haha, but this is funny about William Wallace.
Jump on your horse. You can ride one too.
Yeah, well, what? Yeah, he rode a horse. You know why? Because he was a landed fucking noble. He grew up with peasants working on his lands. He was a landed noble and a professional knight. And kilts didn't even exist in Scotland until the 16th century. So first of all, that's wrong and annoying. Second of all,
why do you hate Hollywood, Andrew?
There are so many reasons.
Weird.
There are so many reasons. But like Wallace was an actual professional knight. Like the guy had a full suit of several full suits of plate armor made for him. He had a bunch of swords. He had a ton of this stuff, right? Like the idea that that he was like some poor peasant whose wife got molested by prima nocte by that's a load of crap. That dude was richer than hell.
Are you saying it wasn't a bottom up revolution?
No, it was not a bottom up revolution. It was very much a whole bunch of people at the top.
I just had to bring that up. So, all right.
Jack in the comments with the Trump reference, with a small loan of a few peasants and a couple suits of armor from his father. Just a few 100,000 men at arms. Just a small loan.
Oh, man, I should have started with that and then gotten.
And this is the kind of shit people tune in for.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the banks.
I'd love to get into some banks. I mean, I could make some bank in banks.
I mean,
what's the give a man a gun, he can rob a man. Give a man a bank, and he can rob the world, or something like that.
Yeah. Although my
know,
personal favorite is still the give a man a fish and you may buy silence for a day. Give a man to the fish and you buy silence forever.
talking about getting into banks, I'm not saying it's connected, but there is a Komatsu for sale about a mile east of town here.
On an unrelated note,
On a completely unrelated note.
after we talked about eminent domain and banks.
I don't know why my brain,
on.
I had a train of thought derailment there, but
keep that thought in mind. Keep that. You have that guy's number for the Komatsu.
Actually,
banks
yes.
increasingly back political scheme to track gun purchases by credit card.
Yep.
Because it would be illegal to have a national registry of firearms.
yeah, to the 4473s. The first credit card processor to announce plans to track purchases at gun shops is Discover Financial Services. The company hints its competitors, specifically Visa, MasterCard, and American Express, are on the same schedule to implement a controversial gun-specific merchant category code announced last year. Given that the ideologically charged bank behind the new code has big plans to target gun purchases, you can expect more fireworks to follow.
I was talking about this with somebody, and the idea came up that maybe Discover, because they're one of the smaller processors, they're all talking about this together, and they're testing it with Discover.
Yep.
Before everybody else puts it into play.
Which is funny because Discover is that card that nobody actually has, right? It's the
2% of the market.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's almost no one accepts it. Almost no one has it. All I can think of is that scene from Family Guy when they open that restaurant and the guy's like, "Do you guys take Discover?" "Oh, look everyone, this guy has Discover. He's part of the special club known as Everyone."
All right, give me 2 paragraphs. Discover Financial Services, a provider of credit cards, told Reuters it will allow its network to track purchases at gun retailers come April, making it the first among its peers to publicly give a date for moving ahead with the initiative, which is aimed at helping authorities probe gun-related crimes. Discover's announcement came after the International Organization of Standardization, which decides on the classification of merchant categories used by payment cards, approved it in September to the launch of a dedicated code for gun retailers. Merchant category codes, that's MCCs, are an IRS-developed scheme for tracking transactions. Behind the push for the gun-specific merchant category code is Amalgamated Bank, which boasts that it, quote, supports substantial organizations, progressive causes, and social justice. It's basically a political operation that uses its presence in the financial industry to advance political goals, and it joined with Democratic politicians to urge adoption of the new MCC. Because at a time when everything is politicized, an ability to monitor buying and selling is enormously important to those who want to restrict or control whole areas of our lives.
Guys, this is all going to be irrelevant anyway because we're going to own nothing and we're going to be happy.
There's a very small part of me that really wants to go and get a Discover card now and just rack that shit up on gun purchases.
Yes.
Just to piss them off.
Just nothing.
That's the only thing you use it for. The only thing you use it for is gun purchases.
Gun, ammo, gun park, gun, ammo.
Yeah, gun, ammo, suppressor.
Just 8 suppressors.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and then randomly, waifu pillow, gun.
Tactical cat ears.
Yeah. Can you imagine that investigator looking through that where he's like, geez, what is this guy going to start a what? And he just stares at it.
55 gallons of Astroglide? What?
Yeah. Dude, You can get that on Amazon. I don't know why you would, but you can.
To the Googles.
You absolutely can get it on Amazon. I want to say it's like it's expensive, but it's like a blue steel barrel of lube, and it's a 50. And the best part about that to me is the fact that it's a barrel of lube. And do you know what the opening on the top of a barrel is called?
That's a bunghole. Yeah,
it's a bunghole.
Crack the bung.
Got to tap that bung to get the lube.
You got to tap the bung to tap the bung. I mean,
Passion Lube's natural water-based lubricant, 55-gallon drum, 7,040 fluid ounces. It's on sale right now for 17% off. $16.16.
$1,616.
I'm not
See?
joking. You just fucked up my.
I love the picture. Oh my god.
Yes.
How
Yes.
there are questions that I have.
We cannot describe that one on the air. I am sorry.
How much lube do you think she'd displace? Like, I mean, there's a math that would be a math problem I would have wanted to get in like remedial math. Like, it's just calculate the lube displacement of the blonde in the barrel.
What is the volume of the blonde in the barrel?
Exactly. Like, because I mean, lube's denser than regular water. So
Scott says that's one slick chick.
you can just dip her into it and then throw her down a slip and slide. And just
Okay, we need inflatable bowling pins.
That would be awesome.
Put that on the Discover card. We can
One 600-foot long slip and slide.
We can
Inflatable bowling pins.
We get a hold of a hoplite or hardhead veterans and get some bump helmets.
Like I said, a 600-foot slip and slide, one 55-gallon drum of Astroglide, 10 inflatable bowling pins.
Great.
And a backhoe.
We're starting another fraternity.
Hell yes. Dude, old school. We can do an old school. It'll be great.
Yes.
There you go. Oh, yes.
But yeah, of course this is an IRS developed scheme, though. Like, obviously it was the IRS.
Yeah, and the IRS developed scheme for tracking transactions. Yes. Okay, hold on.
But you know, the funny thing is, I do want to point out though that the way that this works, from what I remember from a few years ago when I worked for merchants and stuff, I think that if I remember correctly, it's based on whatever your primary business is. So as long as your primary business is not firearms, it will not track as firearms. So if you primarily sell T-shirts, you're or lube. Yeah, you're a clothing retailer or whatever, and then you just also have an FFL.
Yeah. So give me one more paragraph.
Yeah, hold on before you get there, Andrew. That gives me an idea. Maybe we should buy that Shockwave store off of I-94.
Yeah.
And then just add an FFL to it. You bought how much money? You spent how much money at the sex toy store?
Yeah, to be fair.
Well, you know.
Okay, so this is
a belt-fed machine gun is kind of a sex toy. Like, it at least is an aphrodisiac.
Well,
so
yeah.
It vibrates.
And it puts me in the mood. So
Bump fire.
just boom, 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 boom. It's real hard to not want to be like, yeah, America, fuck yeah.
I see what you did there.
Okay, this is a quote from Priscilla Sims Brown. She's president and CEO of Amalgamated Bank. She gloated when the ISO approved the new category code last September. Quote, "We all have to do our part to stop gun violence, and it sometimes starts with illegal purchases of guns and ammunition."
Which we all know are done on credit cards.
Yes, the new code will allow us to fully comply with our duty to report suspicious activity and illegal gun sales to authorities without blocking or implementing legal or blocking or impeding legal gun sales.
So
Wait.
I'm curious here. I'm curious. So is she suggesting one, either A, that most illegal gun purchases are like through Square, and that those people are also registering an LLC to do this?
Hold on, bro. Hold on. I gotta get my Square from the front of the van real quick.
I'm just wondering, yeah, like what is she under the impression that there are like registered LLCs out there like Joe Bob's Trunk Guns Incorporated, and
You know what? Just because I can, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna register an LLC as Joe Bob's Trunk Guns. And
just like DeAndre's Stolen Gats Incorporated. Like what? Like what? Where does she think that these illegal gun purchases are going to show up on a fucking credit card?
Bubba's Trunk.
Chris's Lube and Ammo Emporium.
Can you just imagine? Like, I just put yourself in that position. Like, imagine you're in the middle of this ghetto at night in back of some abandoned gas station, and some dude rolls up in like a fucking Buick Regal, pops his trunk, and when you're like, yeah, I'll take that, he's like, hang on, let me boot up Square on my iPhone. Like, just oh, good, you take plastic, sweet. Like, what? That's not how illegal guns change hands.
It's an answer to a problem that doesn't
exist. Which is basically the epitome of virtually everything government does, right?
Yeah, what's the line? The government is very good at creating the problem, misdiagnosing the cause, and then selling you the wrong cure.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And in this case, it's a private bank that's pushing it on behalf of the government.
Yes. Hold on. Okay, I got just one more paragraph. One more quote. I'm sorry. One more quote.
Oh Lord.
Quote, your bank files a suspicious activity report with your name for every day your cash activity exceeds $10,000. Anti-gun advocates want to apply the same ambiguous approach toward preventing gun violence.
It's my fucking money. What is it business of yours?
When's the last time you spent $10,000 in one day on firearms?
Oh God, if I could ever spend 10 G's a day on firearms, yeah.
I'm just
2007.
If I did, it would not be on a discovery. If I did, it would not be on discovery, and it would be because of the
damn it, Andrew.
Won by
But it was it was also on an Amex, so it was not discovery. But
I'll put it on my diner card.
But I got to earn my points for the sub club.
3 more illegal gun purchases, and I get a free steak.
Can you imagine if they had a stand? Well, if they're using Square for you to process your transactions, fuck it. They might as well have a frequent buyers club, and they can get one of those little star single hole punches.
At Chris's Lube and Ammo Emporium, if you spend $5,000, you get a free steak.
You get a free steak at the strip club buffet that's also attached.
God.
Or shrimp dinner, your choice.
It might smell like fish,
but the strip club next door is called Inks Twinks.
No, the symbol would be like the helmet, the bump helmet with the tactical cat ears on it, like a silhouette of that.
Tactical cat ears and a dildo unicorn horn.
You know what's funny actually about that is there is a place in Las Vegas called the Strip Gun Club.
Mm-hmm.
That is a strip club
with every lube purchase.
tube steak.
Don't advertise it that way, because there are going to be these little old ladies coming in and being like, I heard.
Gam was a whore.
You look like a hunk of meat there, Sonny. Oh, God, I'm an adult. But, I mean, just...
Sexy caddy she got on there, Sonny.
But just the whole that it's the $10,000. Yes, because we all know that the drug dealers openly deposit all of their cash in banks that are required to report the withdrawal of the $10,000 to the IRS, because it's not like they also have access to what reporting limits are or anything easily on the internet. And
yeah, drum and gun. If you're just joining us, bro, you're missing out. You missed out on a lot of backstory there. Jack says, speaking of tactical helmets, where's the best place to get one? Right now, currently, I think my favorite deal right now is Hoplite. Hoplite's releasing. They have a 3A plus. That's pretty good.
The Hard-Headed Veterans has some okay ones. I will say they're okay. I think they
tactical or bump helmets, because there's a difference there.
Well, for actual ballistic helmets, like we're not talking about just polymer bump helmets. We're talking actual ballistic helmets. Hard-Headed Veterans are pretty good. They're not great. Shellback also is a really good one. They're a little more expensive, but they are very high quality. It's realistically, there aren't huge differences between a lot of them. It really amounts to look up reviews and see what they have for the interior padding, because that will make a giant difference, as well as the strap system.
Jack says ballistic. That's what he's looking at.
Yeah, for ballistic, I'd say for the money, Hard-Headed Veterans is probably going to be your best balance of quality and affordability. If money is no object, you can go way better.
Wiley's,
but
or something.
Yeah, you can get some amazing ones if you have the bank to drop on it. But
does LBT still make helmets?
I don't know.
I don't know,
and I
LBT
think
but
the
have some good ones.
I think Safe Life Defense, SLD, I think they make some too, if I remember correctly. They're also the guys who make Frass.
Yep.
They're very, very high quality, but they are expensive.
Yeah. Broski says, I don't have to worry about gear because I'm gonna just be running around butt naked with my 6-shooter and a cowboy hat on. Makes two of us, bro.
Don't forget that your ass cheeks can in fact hold at least 2 road flares on average.
Yeah.
Or if you're Forest Mommy, one really long ass sparkler.
I love that video so much. I'm glad she got her account back after that.
None of us have our originals back.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't have my original back. I tried to get it back, but the problem is there's nothing for me to appeal because they never gave me an actual notification that I was going to get removed. So
all right. I'm trying to segue that.
Good luck.
Oh, okay, yeah, we go with that. FBI works secretly with hospitals to strip U.S. citizens' gun rights, document show. So this is from Washington Examiner, March 7th, from Gabe Kaminsky, investigative reporter. He says the FBI coordinated secretly with hospitals and medical centers to strip U.S. citizens of the rights to own, buy, and even use firearms, according to a trove of internal documents obtained by the Washington Examiner. Behind closed doors and without congressional approval, which that's how it works with Chevron deference. The FBI has worked hand in hand with the Secret Service and U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement to strip over 24 people of their gun rights, with internal forms records show. On the heels of this revelation by the Washington Examiner in December 2022, which we did talk about, newly obtained documents and emails shed light on how the Bureau apparently received a helping hand from medical facilities to waive gun rights from at least 5 people. Quote, anytime you have evidence of private entities coordinating with federal agents to strip Americans of their gun rights, the public should be alarmed and demanding answers and actions. That's from Aiden Johnston, Federal Affairs Director for Gun Owners of America. Quote, this is just the latest terrifying new instance of illegal NICF self-submission forms being used in nefarious ways, and those who use it to violate the public's trust must be held to account.
What is the name of the political system that where the private and the public work in concert and they don't care about rights, and like it was real popular in like the 30s?
I got called
with a guy
those
with a
today.
funny mustache.
I got called one of those today. I got called a fascist today. So that I believe that would be fascism.
Fascism, yes. Fascism, the merging of public and private, where although nominally public is not the owner of private companies, the public, i.e. government, does in fact still direct, coordinate, and demand things of the private sector, which the private sector must comply with. That is fascism.
Actual fascism, not the bullshit that they're constantly spewing about.
Yeah,
on
that's
TV.
actual bald cartoon character looking pleased with himself on a balcony in Rome. Fascism. Okay, that's what that is.
We're very Weimar right now. Just saying.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, or
inflation rate is not
mustachioed
quite
angry
high
man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Between 2016 and 2019, the FBI presented forms to U.S. citizens in their homes and in other undisclosed locations that registered them with the Bureau's National Instant Criminal Background Check System. Newly obtained records, however, date the FBI's usage of the form all the way back to 2011.
2011, which means if they were using continuously through 2011, that means that they used it through whose presidency?
Lord Dampnut.
That would be.
Hey, look at that, Donald Trump.
Signatories of the internal forms were asked to voluntarily identify as "quote unquote" danger to themselves or others, as well as lacking the "quote" mental capacity adequately to contract their lives. The very existence of the FBI's form has raised significant concern among First Amendment lawyers and members of Congress, including Senator Marsha Blackburn, Republican of Tennessee, House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan, Republican or Representative Dan Bishop, and Andrew Clyde.
And I want to point out here, and we brought this up when we first talked about this form, right? This is Schrodinger's form because it's a legal document that they are signing themselves, declaring that they are mentally unfit to manage their own legal affairs.
Yes.
And if they're mentally unfit to manage their legal affairs, then the form can't possibly be binding, which means they never actually said that they were unfit to manage it. You see where this is a Mobius strip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Quote, it really speaks to the rogue nature of the deep state mentality. That's from Ken Kusalidi, the ex-Department of Homeland Security official under the Trump administration, and former Virginia Attorney General. New documents shared with the Washington Examiner, which Gun Owners of America obtained through a Freedom of Information Act, shed light on how facilities in New Hampshire, Delaware, Massachusetts, and Oklahoma used the gun forms and supplied signatory records to the FBI. The forms are from 2011 and 2019, the year the FBI said it discontinued their usage.
Claims it discontinued their usage.
As Andrew and I covered last week quite extensively, every time they say, oh, we discontinued that, they're doing something else that's far worse.
Yes. The documents, now they just red flag everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. The document from 2011, which dates the FBI's actions to 5 years earlier than previously reported, was shared with Oklahoma's Northwest Center for Behavioral Health, a mental clinic. Like other forms, the signatories' names had been redacted by the FBI. The form was filled out in November 2011, and the clinic later sent it to the FBI. Documents show a medical professional whose name was also redacted by the FBI signed the form and disclosed the state license number. There are no investigative records accompanying the Oklahoma-related forms, making it unclear why the person forfeited their gun rights.
You know, the fact that they also redacted their license number is disappointing.
Yes.
We can, however,
Big hide.
see who's what unit they're in. That they're in the acute care unit in.
Yes.
What is that? That's a supply supply Oklahoma.
Something like that. Simply Oklahoma.
Northwest Center for Behavioral Health acute care unit.
Yes. I don't know.
So if anyone wants to go ahead and look into that, I'm just saying you can probably figure it out. And I'm not saying that you should. I'm just saying that you still could.
You certainly could.
Yes. So, but I had to bring that up so that we could get onto this other one real fast, which is a new poll. Say 64% say the FBI has been weaponized.
Oh, thanks for noticing. Welcome
Only
to the
64%?
fucking party.
Only 64%? Jesus Christ.
Yes.
The other, 36% are sitting there with their heads in the sand?
Yes.
Again, I feel like fucking McLean right now looking out the window of the Nakatomi Plaza Tower. Welcome to the party, pal.
Yes.
Right?
Although half
Nice of you all to notice.
Although half of likely American voters have a favorable view of the FBI, nearly 2/3 agree that the agency has been politically weaponized.
How can you have a
report
favorable
released on Friday?
How can you have a favorable view of the FBI if you believe it's been weaponized?
Because
it's just the wrong people are in charge. That's all. We just need to put the right person in the White House.
We just got to vote harder, right?
it's the bee from Bee Movie bouncing off the glass. Maybe this time. That's what statists are, man. Like they're like, if only this time, but this time.
Yep.
Yes. Let's see. 50% had a favorable view of the FBI, with 22% having a very favorable view. It found that 45% had an unfavorable view, with 24% having an unfavorable impression of the agency. 3% error on that one. So, in the poll, 64% of voters agreed that the statement, including 44 who strongly agreed. Just 30% disagreed, including 17 who strongly agreed. So 30% of the voters disagreed that the FBI had been weaponized.
So that means that a full third of the population is too dumb to be trusted with an actual steak knife. They need the rounded end ones.
Among Republicans, 59% agreed or strongly agreed that the FBI had been politically weaponized, as did 28% of Democrats and 45% of voters not affiliated with either party.
No, Andrew, 1/3 of the population can only be trusted with the serrated plastic knives. They don't even get a metal knife.
Like, let me just go ahead and cut that up for you there, sweetie. Where just have you guys have seen Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, right?
Yes.
Movie. Yeah, with Rubric, with the when he's Rubric and Steve Martin, and he's got the cork on the end of the fork. Why does he have a cork on the end of the fork? So he can't hurt himself. Yeah. And then he's like into his eye, or us.
Yes. In a February 9th hearing in front of the House Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government, former FBI agent Nicole Parker testified the FBI had become, quote, politically weaponized, starting from the top in Washington, trickling down to the field offices.
We call this the theory of duh.
Yes, that is. She's a whistleblower, if I remember correctly.
Oh, well, that means she's probably dead by now, because...
Let's see. Former FBI Special Agent Nicole Parker testified to the House panel investigating the weaponization of the federal government that the Bureau is plagued by, quote, low morale, has become politically weaponized, and it's lowered its standard for new agents. Quote, over the course of my 12-year service, the FBI's trajectory has transformed. The FBI has become politically weaponized, starting from the top in Washington, trickling down into field offices. She says it felt as if there has been, or quote, as if there became two FBIs. See,
yeah, there became two FBIs, one that absolutely hated everyone's freedom and one that only hated the freedom that they disagreed with.
Yes.
Yeah. Although agents have the First Amendment rights, they are not at liberty to publicly express any potential political support while on duty wearing FBI gear. Parker wrote, adding that it was, quote, appalling that agents were not even reprimanded. That was in reference to the agents in front of the building kneeling to the George Floyd protesters.
You know what we need to do is we need to start normalizing wearing those FBI jackets like Kiwi. It was Kiwi, wasn't it, that wore the FBI jacket to like the LNC?
I don't know.
I don't remember. I think that was Kiwi who did that. But we need to normalize all protesters wearing those FBI jackets at protests.
I picture Super Troopers 2 when they put on the Mountie uniforms.
Yes.
To ruin the good names of the Mounties.
Yeah.
Don't ruin the good names of the Mounties. They're Canadians. They're obnoxiously polite. It's annoying.
I don't know. According to Super Troopers too.
According to Super Troopers, you just have to call them on the landline during hockey night, and then they'll get really angry.
I mean, that might actually be true.
Yeah.
So hilariously, and I literally just told Sasha I was going to bring her up again, but I'm totally bringing her up here. So I found out that her dad's Canadian, which is horrifying. I told her that I wouldn't hold her disability against her. But
Snow Mexicans.
But I had to immediately reference Canadian bacon and send her the maple syrup, Canada's evil oozes into the United States.
So what is this? It's a lubricant, maple syrup, and ammo.
Canadians, they walk among us undetected. William Shatner, Ryan Reynolds. Colin Mockery.
The big sign just says lame.
Oh god. This is what you all tuned in for, wasn't it?
Random fun fact, speaking of Canada and maple syrup, there is a maple syrup cartel in Canada, and if that isn't the most Canadian goddamn thing you've ever heard.
Yes,
there's they have a gigantic warehouse that's got private security that's armed with fucking teeth and
people robbed it a few years ago.
Maple trafficking is almost as profitable as avocado trafficking.
I believe that.
I fucking hate everyone that statement is true. I hate all of it. Everyone. I hate you all. Everything is terrible.
Yeah, when that vault thing got robbed, it was something like it was tens of millions of dollars of maple syrup. Just poof.
Which by my local store prices is only like 7 gallons of pure maple syrup.
I was gonna say they stole $10 million worth of maple syrup, 8 bottles. See, but it's not that expensive here in Wisconsin. As we all know, Wisconsin maple syrup is vastly superior to anything Canada could ever hope to produce. But
did you just declare war?
I think he did.
Dude, Wisconsin has been at war with Canada for decades.
That's true.
Do you not know about the deep-seated hatred between Canadians and Wisconsinites? We despise each other.
Like Californians and Arizonans.
Like Texans and Oklahomans, okay? But worse.
Red River rivalry.
It's worse,
so
man.
Worse.
We despise Canadians. When you see a Canadian license plate in Wisconsin, I'm pretty sure there's a state law that you're supposed to try to run them off the road. We hate Canadians.
They crash into the ditch and then get out and apologize for it.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, you boot dead, eh?
I didn't see you.
You shut your mouth.
It's funny that Andrew talks about the rivalry or the hatred between Wisconsin and Canada, because I had a friend who went to college up in Lake Superior, and they drove up to Thunder Bay because in Canada they could drink. Mm-hmm. And they got up there, the first bar they went to, they showed them their Wisconsin driver's licenses and got into the biggest bar fight I've ever heard of.
Hey, you get out of here, eh? Take off, you hosers. Bunch of knobs. It's But I mean, it's weird, but it's true. Like, it is true. If you're not from here, you may not understand. But seriously, Michigan too. Like, Jack can probably attest to this. Michigan also hates Canadians.
Yeah,
Like, it's
I hate the metric system also.
But it's the fact that we are like right on the border, I think. But like the one thing that we used to love Canadians for is their toilets, and we still do, because Wisconsinites regularly smuggle the high flush. Well, we regularly smuggle the high flush toilets from Canada into Wisconsin for resale.
That's true. in fact,
Ew, French Canadians.
French Canadians.
Our neighbors here in Florida are Canadians. It's disgusting. French accents and all. Are they even possible? French Canadians are a different breed.
You know, you're in Florida. There's this giant swamp. It's really easy to get rid of French Canadians.
With both alligators and crocodiles and boa constrictors and pythons and...
I pulled a 16-footer out of there the other day, I saw.
Yeah.
Good God.
Just 300 pounds of snake.
Oh,
That's some good eating.
Delicious, but
300 pounds of nope.
That's, man, dude, you know what the fabulous boots you could make out of that?
Yeah.
You make several pairs of very nice boots out of that snake.
That you can buy at Chris's Lube Ammo and Maple Emporium.
Lame. Place is lame. Exactly. So you know it. No, I've never been there.
That's just like the convenience store that eventually we want to open up in the commune. Alcohol, tobacco, and firearms.
Oh my God. I'm just saying, like, I can deal with Canadians, but once you get to French Canadians, they're smelly cheeses.
Western Canadians are different, though. Right? Once you get over in Vancouver, they're a little bit more chill. They're still cold.
Literally.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's cold.
The trees are taller.
But you know, like there's like something like 3/4 of all the Ojibwa bands are actually up in, I think they call themselves tribes, but up in Canada. They're First Nations in Canada. So they're cool, but
yeah, anti-social justice warrior. What's really good actually is a good maple syrup glaze over your snake.
Yes.
Oh, you know, that would actually probably... Oh, mesquite smoke the snake and like a bourbon barrel aged maple syrup. Oh, yeah, buddy.
Pooping it out later, nice high flow toilet.
Oh, yeah. There you go. There you go.
You sounded a little too French there.
That was my terrible Tim Allen impression. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, it sounded like you were like, ho, 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 and less, oh.
What?
Is no croissant, it is croissant. Like that's what you sounded.
That's what you sounded like.
Yeah. No, croissants are the greatest of all pastries, despite being.
As somebody who vehemently hates French Canadians.
Speaking of French Canadians, this is no relation to French Canadians at all, but they are equally as dumb. Washington State. The House passed an assault weapons ban, and it is the worst assault weapons ban that I've ever heard of. Washington State House. It's stronger than California's. It's stronger than California's. The Washington State House approved a sweeping assault weapons ban on Wednesday that would prohibit the sale and manufacture of all AR-15 and AK-47 rifles and many other popular semi-automatic weapons. If passed, it would impose the strictest restrictions on assault weapons in the country. Legal experts, however, say that the courts would likely strike down after the Supreme Court signaled it would apply tough constitutional standards to gun restrictions in a ruling last June. That would be the Bruin.
Bruin, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Washington State bill is broad in its kinds of gun it covers. It would ban entire classes of guns, including the AK-74, AK-47, AR-15, M16, and M4 models in all forms, and, quote, regardless of which company produced and manufactured this firearm. It also
Hashtag
lists
bet.
dozens of specific models that it would ban, as well as banning semi-automatic firearms with multiple accessories that are not common, including telescoping stocks, thread barrels for muzzle brakes, flash suppressors or silencers, and pistol grips. Magazines that hold more than 10 rounds of ammunition would also be banned. The bill bans the sale, manufacture, and import of such weapons into the state, but does not explicitly ban possession, meaning it would apply to a new firearm but not existing owners. It also has some exemptions for law enforcement and the military.
3D
Because of
printer
course
go
it does.
burr.
So it would ban outright AR-15s, AKs, M14s, etc., etc. Anything that has a semi-automatic removable magazine, it would outright ban. Like,
So all
not
of the-
basically,
not
even
like,
your
like,
wood
I
furniture
can,
stuff.
I can have an AR, but I can only have certain accessories, right? Like more than one accessory, and then it becomes an assault weapon. This would outright ban AR-15s.
which actually makes it
AK-47s.
which actually makes it more restrictive than the majority of gun laws in Europe.
Yes,
Yes.
it's more restrictive than what just got kicked back by the courts in Connecticut.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. It's
So
more
it would
restrictive
never
than what
survive.
California.
Yeah, it's never, and they know it will never survive.
Post Bruin, it's done. It won't pass at all.
The goal isn't for it to survive. The goal is to continue to shift the window. Yes, exactly.
Yes, that's what this is. This is strict. Even this is even stricter than what Dianne Feinstein recently submitted.
Yeah, they know that it'll never pass. They know that it'll never work, but the goal isn't for it to work.
Yes.
The goal is that because they went super extreme, then anything less extreme, they can go, look, we're compromising. And they've shifted the Overton window.
That's what I was getting at, is the window shift, right? So this is a window shift, right? Because this is stricter than anything that's been submitted in the last decade.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the window shift. This is the new window that they're talking about is outright bans. Which, God, I wish they would pass it. Oh my God, can you imagine?
And the thing is like I just
and the Washington House, the state Washington House did pass it. Isley has signed on. Governor Isley said that he wants this bill to go through. So it's not it hasn't gone through the Senate up there yet.
The thing for me about it is that I just don't care. I don't care what they have to say. Like that's where I'm at this point, is like I'm through arguing, I'm through debating, I'm through going, but you don't get to restrict my rights. I'm done with it. I am at the point that unless you are personally willing to get into that stack and try to take my guns, your argument's irrelevant.
Yep.
Because that's where I'm at. If you can take them, you can take them. Feel free to get in the stack.
Yep.
And we'll see what happens. But 3D printer go burr.
Yes. I actually came across a guy the other day on Twitter that was claiming to be a veteran and all that stuff, about saying we need to ban these weapons, and I will personally come to your house as part of the stack and go to take them. And all I could say was, okay, here's my address.
Yep. I have a couple memes I'll send you in regards to that.
Yeah.
I love those. I love those with I'll personally. All right, will you? All right, then do it now. Why wait? Come on, bud. It'll be a fantastic time for one of us. Because when you show up, what you're going to hear is shooter ready. Beep. Because I will check my splits afterwards.
Yes.
Just have the girlfriend or the wife running the shot timer, so that way you can come back on the data.
I mean, no, because I'll have to do it for myself, because I'll be putting Lindsay in.
There you go. I dropped
the
I dropped two memes in the chat for you, Chris.
The report's going to be loud enough that she can get your split times from the bedroom.
Yeah, actually, probably.
I mean, it's going to
the
be
couple
fine.
of muzzle brakes, I have, they help with muzzle climb, but in an enclosed space.
Quiet. It's not a whisper.
In an enclosed space, you're
What?
gonna notice.
What?
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. Oh man, those nice the real hot loads. Some of them that I got, like whoo, doggy.
What's the hot 300s? Were they like 120 or something like that?
110.
110.
I have about
100,
1,000
110
110s.
grain flashbang.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. Surprise, buddy. Not only have I shot you, I've also set you on fire. Enjoy. Like you'll survive the bullet wound, but probably not the immolation. That's probably gonna do it.
Why does this fire sprinkler smell like gasoline?
Yeah, tell me, is that a plate carrier made out of polymer? You're going to regret that. I can't help but notice it's not cotton. That's unfortunate for you.
You can get hearing protection at Chris's Lubricant and Maple Emporium.
Yes, we sell it. We sell many different variations. They even come with cat ears if you're so inclined.
So help me, I will buy range ears that have cat ears on them. I will do it if I can find them.
We have to make that deal now, right? If you buy range ears and a bale fang, it comes with free cat ears.
Dude, I need
use code OO.
Use code Uwu Senpai for.
If they use Uwu, they just get the cat ears. If they use Uwu Senpai, they get the cat ears and the pillow.
That's actually the name of the brand of the model for our ghillie suit is Notice Me Senpai.
Practical Senpai taken on Instagram? Because it really should be.
Oh my god! If it's not,
hurts.
I may have to set that one up and then just.
I would help.
I'm not even a weeb, but I know enough weebs. I could be supplied with memes for it.
I would help you run that.
That would be amazing. The tactical senpai. Can you imagine winding up like you show up at the pearly gates and it's because you shot at and yeeted yourself because of a tannerite filled waifu fucking pillow? Like
oh man. Jack says Fed is already bailing out the banks. Yeah, Janet Yellen said that they were going to. Like she waffled back and forth. I assume that they were going to.
Yeah,
the finance troll.
See, okay, now if this was like a local community bank, they would have let it fail. But because there's named people that have big money in this bank,
because
they have the money, they have lobbying money.
I was going to say,
it's because
there have accounts there.
Yeah, there are people who are on Epstein's flight list who have accounts there, and so therefore they're going to bail them out.
If you're on Epstein's flight list, you are pre-blackballed from Chris's lube, ammo, and maple.
Oh no! They're not blackballed. They are welcome to come in. In fact, we have a very special back room that we can show them with very special merchandise.
And they can wait for their next check to go through in the back room.
Free wood chipper demonstrations.
We promise it will be great. In fact,
it has nothing to do with the compost that we sell.
Brandenburg, Ohio, 1969.
Oh, really? You were on Epstein's flight lot. Well, let me go ahead and you know what? You're a VIP, so let me show you to our Hotel California room.
No.
You can check out anytime you want.
Jackson, it's a mostly peaceful back room.
Yes,
Exactly.
It is a mostly peaceful background.
But fiery.
That's just exhaust fumes, Andrew. It's not.
While you wait, allow us to give you a product demonstration of Dragon's Breath ammo that we sell in there. Why is this room all concrete with a giant vent over top? No reason.
Yes. I got a word for you. Flechette.
Dude, have you seen that picture? Those ballistic glasses
Yes.
from Ukraine with the flechette embedded in it that it stopped. Oh,
goosebumps, bro.
Just
thinking about.
I would be rocket diarrhea propelled at that. Like, oh my god!
Not contain this.
Woo! Holy crap!
Oh, Andrew, if this whole thing waits any longer, we're gonna be out there in our tactical Depends rather than.
Man, I'm already broken enough. I don't know. After Friday night, as it is, my legs hurt. So, like, I don't know that I can handle running and I got to get back in shape. This is getting horrible.
She's 25. She'll get you into some sort of shape. Better or worse?
I mean, that's true.
She'll wreck it
eventually.
Further.
Eventually, I'll be back. I'll lose some weight. I'll be back in shape. It'll be okay.
Or she loses interest. Wait a minute. Hold on. This isn't how it's supposed to work.
Yeah, this is what's supposed to happen. What the hell? What the hell's going on?
Federal judge tosses Missouri gun law, ruling it, quote, could expose citizens to greater harm. Right? Sounds fantastic, right?
It's almost like freedom is dangerous or something.
You ruined the article. We're supposed to be like, oh my God, you know.
Remember, war is peace, freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength.
Yeah, it's a mostly peaceful financial collapse right now, guys.
Oh, it's a mostly financially beneficial financial collapse.
It's just a small leak on the boat, you guys. Just a small leak.
It's only a 3-hour tour. It'll be fine.
Ginger.
You got Ginger and Marianne. What do you care? It'll be fine.
Oh God.
So it's now.
And if neither one of those
now coconuts, lubricant, ammo, and maple.
and if neither one of those work out, all right. If neither one of those work out, you got Gilligan. And
Chris's Clam Emporium. Come on down to the clam shop.
You know, if you guys keep that up, Derica's going to get jealous because she's the one who's supposed to be running the brothel around here.
Superimposed in the back of the commercial is in the back of the audio is just the coconut horse sound. Yes. A federal judge has overturned a Missouri law that declared certain federal gun bans invalid if they don't have a state-level equivalent after the U.S. Department of Justice sued to overturn the measure. U.S. District Court Judge Brian Wims wrote in a decision issued Tuesday, this is last Tuesday, that Missouri's Second Amendment Preservation Act, quote, is invalidated as unconstitutional in its entirety for violating the U.S. Constitution's Supremacy Clause, which ensures federal law trumps state law. Doesn't Missouri have legalized cannabis?
Doesn't the Supremacy Law or the Supremacy Clause... Yeah. Go for it, Andrew.
Andrew's switching.
That's not what the Constitution says!
Go.
That's not what the fucking Constitution says. The fucking the Supremacy Clause just says that if the federal government wants a more restrictive law with regards to fucking interstate commerce, that it can restrict things more than each individual state can. The federal government is not supposed to be regulating intrastate commerce. That is not a thing it's supposed to be doing. Ever. That's not part of the fucking Constitution.
February 3rd, 2023 was the first day of recreational cannabis sales in the state of Missouri.
So magically, apparently, fucking weed is totally okay, even though the federal government says no, but not guns, because that would be unconstitutional.
Yes.
Don't
Almost
worry,
like
I'm
it's
definitely not a
codified.
fucking tyrant.
Quote, while purporting it to protect citizens, SAPA, that is the Second Amendment Preservation Act, exposes citizens to greater harm by interfering with the federal government's ability to enforce lawfully enacted firearms regulations designed by Congress for the purpose of protecting citizens within the limits of the Constitution. And Andrew, you're gonna start twitching again?
I'm just
Let him
moving my
rip.
necklace for no reason. That's all I'm doing.
Just let him rip. Let him go.
Andrew's wearing
I'm
a
just-
guillotine necklace and he's moving it up and down.
Just whoop.
Yes.
Hey, I got asked recently why I have this necklace, and I said just to remind politicians where they come from and where they're going.
Yes.
Where they belong.
I'm gonna read that again just because it's so good. There's so many points in this. Okay. While purporting to protect citizens, the Second Amendment Preservation Act exposes citizens to greater harm by interfering with the federal government's ability to enforce lawfully enacted firearms regulations designed by Congress for the purpose of protecting citizens within the limits of the Constitution.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the latest gun ban that FPC so fabulously put on blast today, where in the law they say none of this violates the Constitution, as if magically, because you say, well, we super promise, though, that this doesn't violate the Constitution. We don't know what you're talking about it, the fact that it violates the Constitution, because it definitely doesn't. Why would you say that when we clearly said that this doesn't violate the Constitution? Obviously, this doesn't violate the Constitution.
I like Parks and Rec when you wrote on that piece of paper. I can do whatever I want.
Yes. Oh no, don't worry. I have a permit. I can do whatever I want. Except my piece of paper says I can do whatever I want. ... Fuck you.
Yes.
Like
The
Or
2021
stop me.
Yeah, the 2021
Yeah.
law passed by Republican-controlled General Assembly and signed by Governor Mike Parson had sown confusion among Missouri law enforcement who questioned how much they could cooperate with federal officials.
none.
Not at all.
The answer is none.
The Justice Department had argued that the law, quote, severely impairs federal criminal law enforcement operations to fight gun crime in Missouri.
Shucks.
I
Oh no.
don't see a downside here.
It's almost like that was what it was supposed to do.
You mean the law was supposed to remove the ability of the federal tyrants to be tyrants in Missouri?
Yes.
Oh no.
It's almost like they were trying to actively protect their own fucking people.
Yes. Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey, a Republican, said he will appeal the decision. In a statement, he said he expects a, quote, better result before the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals. Quote, the Second Amendment is what makes the rest of the amendments possible. God, I hate that fucking boomer line so much.
It's
terrible. It's not entirely wrong, but it's a terrible boomer line.
It's a terrible line, but it's like you said, it's not really inaccurate either.
It's not inaccurate, but like the problem is that what it historically the people who use it are indicating is that they think apparently that your rights stem from the paper and not from the fact that you just have those rights, regardless of what anyone has to say.
Hold that thought. I have to read the rest of his statement. Hold that thought. The Second Amendment is what makes the rest of the amendments possible. If the state legislature wants to expand upon the foundational rights codified in the Second Amendment, they have the authority to do that. But the Second Amendment Preservation Act is also about the 10th Amendment. It's about federalism and individual liberty. So we will be appealing the court's ruling.
Well, I mean, yeah, that part is again factually accurate. I mean, the 10th Amendment if you look at the way things are being run right now, the 10th Amendment basically doesn't exist. They might as well have just ripped it clean off and thrown it right in the fire pit.
Yes. If the state legislature wants to expand upon the foundational rights codified in the Second Amendment, they have the authority to do that.
Yes, absolutely they do.
You
Just
can't
like
expand upon that because the Second Amendment isn't written to give you something.
Correct.
Right?
But
it's supposed to if we're going to talk about the Second Amendment,
no,
Second Amendment is written as a restriction on what the government can and can't do.
Yes. The way I'm seeing it is I'm seeing it from the lens of the modern era where the idea of shall not be infringed just has already gone clean out the window.
Yeah.
And
you know what?
So it absolutely is, incumbent upon the many states to do their job to put the federal government back in their fucking place.
And the thing is really the only way that you expand on the Second Amendment is you just get increased specificity, right? Where you do not allow any negotiation on it. Where you say instead of the way they wrote it, you alter it to just say, because the right to self-defense is an essential right inherent to humanity, no laws that have anything to say about arms, ammunition, or anything regarding the right to self-defense and the arms regarding thereof no law will ever be passed for those. Like, that's what you had. That's the only way that you expand on it, right? Is you just say,
you have to
look, seriously, under absolutely no circumstances are you allowed to tax, regulate, restrict, or dictate anything to do with arms to defend yourself. And it shouldn't have to be spelled out that much. And even the anti-federalists, right, during the debates in the late 18th century, even during that, they were like, are we being too specific? Like, I feel like this is self-explanatory. Like, this should be obvious. Like, there was even a debate over whether or not that was, like, needed. Because it was so obvious.
Yes. Mm-hmm. After the Missouri law was passed in June 2021, some police departments reacted by restricting cooperation with federal authorities, such as
they were fucking supposed to,
and limiting gun serial number information sent to the federal database.
That was a good point.
The DOJ said in court documents that the Missouri State Crime Lab, operated by the Highway Patrol, refused to process evidence that would help federal firearms prosecutions. It also said the Missouri Information Analyst Center, also under the Highway Patrol, no longer cooperated with federal agencies investigating federal firearms offenses.
So the law goes, yeah. So the law goes, hey, you're not allowed to cooperate with federal firearms authorities anymore. And their argument is, but it kept them from cooperating with federal firearms authorities. That's what it was supposed to do.
It's
very
right
good.
In white. It says right here. You should not do this.
That law, that law needs to be modified to end with, and it is the resolution of this body. Fuck the feds.
Oh,
like
almost. The law wasn't enforced by any one agency, but instead authorized residents to sue law enforcement officials over alleged violations. Fines up to $50,000 per violation were possible.
Yeah. Because you decentralized it.
Yes, that number's a little low. It should be a little higher.
But you decentralized it, right? That's the beauty of the way this law worked, is it decentralized it. It didn't say we're going to create another government agency who's now in charge of this. What it said was, I am going to give consequences to police agencies within the state of Missouri who cooperate with federal law enforcement and violate citizens' rights. You do not get QI. You do not get this because it is forbidden expressly by law.
Yes.
And that's what it did. And that's what scares the feds so fucking much about it is because there wasn't an agency.
That's what terrified the judge. That's what terrified Judge
Yep.
Wims.
Well, yeah.
Wims, that's a judge. He wrote, quote, At best, the statute causes confusion among state law enforcement officials who are deputized for federal task force operations, and at worst, it's unconstitutional on its face. While Missouri cannot be compelled to assist in the enforcement of federal regulations within the state, it may not regulate federal law enforcement or otherwise interfere with its operations.
Another lie.
Another lie. Because if the federal government is deputizing state law enforcement to do their dirty work for them, then the state absolutely can say, no, you can't do this.
Yeah, the state, at best, the federal government can request.
Yes.
And of course, the Kansas City Mayor Quentin Lucas said, quote, "It seems this type of grandstanding and purely performative political action is a sort of thing that does no real service to the people of Missouri."
Bullshit!
Somebody's gearing up for a run for governor.
Yeah. No, this does absolute service to the people of Missouri, and most of the people of Missouri understand that it does. That's what they wanted. It was what they wanted. That's why these people that in their state government passed it, was because it was what they wanted.
Yes,
it was in their service.
When that law was first passed, there was a very large poll that went out amongst and granted, take polls with a grain of salt, but there was a very large sample poll that was taken in the state, and the results were something like 73% of the state viewed the law favorably.
And that was based on the people surveyed.
Yes.
I mean, that's my whole thing is like, no, it does protect the people of Missouri. It protects them from the federal fucking government. Yeah, and that's its purpose, which is why the federal government is pissed off, because the federal government wants unarmed victims.
Yes. U.S. Representative Eric Burleson, who championed the Second Amendment Preservation Act, said on Twitter, quote, "We fully anticipate an appointee seeing the judgment against the..." Okay, in a alleged statement, Burleson praised Bailey's decision to appeal and said, quote, "The state of Missouri, not a federal judge, should determine how it spends its resources."
This is the type of climate, political climate, that absolutely led to the Civil War and the American Revolution at the same time, in the same breath. This sort of federal supremacy over, you will do what we tell you to do, whether you like it or not.
Don't forget, the federal supremacy clause is the reason that Lon Horiuchi did not see the inside of a cage for shooting Vicky Weaver in the face.
Right. Exactly.
Not only did he shoot Vicky Weaver, but then he showed up at Waco and murdered a bunch of fucking children and then posed in their ashes.
Yep.
Just like the rest of those fucking tyrants.
I just said the other night, I was talking about Lon Horiuchi, and I was like, if there was one soul that I wish God would give me the ability to rip from this plane and drag to the fiery fucking pits of hell itself to make sure that he was going to burn, it would be Lon Horiuchi.
I have a comment, but I will withhold it because I don't want us to get arrested.
Your attorney has advised you not to make this comment.
Yeah, that's on advice of my legal counsel. I will say no more on this matter. But yeah, if like I could just grab his soul and be sure that I personally threw it into the sulfuric, fiery pits of hell itself, I would be very happy with doing that. Because that man, more than anyone that I can think of offhand, deserves that personal attention.
Yeah.
Which is why his actual location is absolutely guarded.
We don't even know if that's his real name.
Yeah, we don't actually even know if that's his real name.
No.
Most likely it's not. Most likely it's something.
Most likely it's not. No, it's a cover name. But if he was walking up the stairs to the pearly gates, I would hope Vicky Weaver would kick him in the face.
I would love to see Vicky Weaver just like grab him and go, no, not you, and throw him. Except first, I want to see I want him to have to see every dog that he's ever owned that's died on him, looking at him with displeasure and just hating him, and then he gets thrown into the pit. Like, I want that soul-crushing thing.
Sparta kick.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, that works for me. So that brings us on to another hard article.
Hard giggity.
It is from Utah, so it is kind of giggity.
Oh, it's from Utah.
Oh Lord,
Guess.
that's about the
Guess where
most ungiggity state there is.
No, guess where Sasha's originally from.
Guess where who is?
According to Pornhub, per capita use in Utah is higher than any of the other states.
I believe it.
I believe it.
No, what I said was guess where Sasha's originally from.
Utah? Is she Mormon?
Ding. Born and raised in Utah.
You raised Mormon?
No.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, but her and I have had conversations about some of the weird ass shit that comes from the Mormons. Whoa.
That's a Utah thing.
That is some weird fucking
There's
shit.
a lot of that in West Virginia too.
Dude, I had socks with holes in them, and I chuckled about the Mormon holy underwear, and so I got to hear about the Jesus 90s, and I tell you what, it was
Jesus
fucking weird.
90s.
Dude, you don't even... They are just...
I know what he's talking about. That's the worst part.
This is why I'm not familiar.
I had holy socks, and I had commented about them
Sunday
being holy.
socks.
Oh, yeah. No, the Mormons totally have holy underwear, and I always laugh that, like, so do I, but I try not to advertise it. I blame the dryer. What is... It's...
Or Taco Bell.
No, it's the dry. My old dryer like destroyed a ton of my undies. But
Yes.
oh my God, the Mormons are weird on levels that you cannot begin to understand.
Sheller says, "I think I want to know." I think
you think you don't. Those are things that make you stare off. Like, you've seen that video, right, with the guinea pig that's like eating and looking all happy and all of a sudden stops and just stares? That guinea pig was just told deep truths about Mormonism. It's just... And it had to face the reality that otherwise seemingly intelligent human beings believe that horseshit.
South Park did a really good episode about the Mormons.
They actually in the that movie that they did back in the early 2000s, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut.
Yeah.
Everybody goes to hell, and they're like, "All right, so what was the right one?" That would be Mormonism. Mormonism would be the right one.
All right. So did you guys read about or hear about Chase Allen? That's the kid that's the 25-year-old kid that was shot.
Okay.
Okay. The mother of a recent Utah college graduate who was killed by police during a traffic stop claimed during a April 2022 traffic stop that she was a sovereign citizen of the state after being pulled over for having an expired registration, claiming that the public roadways, quote, are open to all, according to a lawsuit. So she's suing now over the traffic stop, and her son was recently killed for the same sort of thing.
So he got pulled over because his tags were expired, and the police ended up.
Yeah, he had a legally illegitimate license plate. So
Which
Farmington
is
Police
horse shit.
So in other words, he didn't pay the king's ransom to use the king's highway.
Yep.
There's a little more to that. I'll get into that. But Farmington Police Department officers stopped Chase Allen, 25, on March 1st around 3:22 p.m. for allegedly driving with an illegitimate license plate. Allen refused to get out of the car. Police Chief Eric Jensen said in a statement to Fox News Digital, who said that multiple shots were fired after Allen refused to get out. The police chief said that based on body camera video from the incident, which has been released, you can see it. Allen, quote, rolled the window of the vehicle down only a few inches and refused to provide identification or cooperate with the officers in any way. The initial officer called for assistance, and 4 other officers arrived. After allegedly, quote, exhausting attempts to convince Allen to get out of the car on his own, an officer opened the car door and attempted to physically remove Allen from it. Johnson said that's when an officer opened the car door. Another officer yelled, "Gun, gun, gun." Afterward, Jensen said that a struggle ensued and, quote, gunshots can be heard, adding that an empty holster can be seen on Mr. Allen's right hip and a handgun can be seen lying on the floor of the driver's side floorboard of the vehicle. Allen was given medical assistance at the scene, but later pronounced dead at the local hospital. Allen's mother, Diane, was pulled over April 7, 2022 by the Farmington Police Department over an expired registration, according to a lawsuit she filed in federal court against the police officer Jensen, the city of Farmington police officer Diana Hinson, and other officials. Diana wrote in the lawsuit that she is, quote, one of the sovereign people of Utah and has an inherent right to be able to access the public roads without her liberty being restrained. She also noted that police officers wrongly claimed to have, quote, the right to enforce traffic codes. Jensen told Diane Allen that if she didn't register her vehicle, it would be impounded. According to the lawsuit, Allen said police saying they would impound her vehicle for improper registration was a threat. Quote, no, it's a promise. It's a promise, Jensen responded to Diane Allen. Quote, your car is going to be impounded. We're going to take it away from you. Diane Allen then told officer his comments were, quote, a declaration of war, according to the lawsuit.
Well, I mean, he's already threatening her with violence, so, I mean, that's not necessarily wrong.
By the way, I just double checked because I was kind of curious because states are kind of all over the place on it. According to drivinglaws.org, it says getting pulled over is stressful enough, and finding out you forgot your license at home only adds to the anxiety. Utah law requires that all licensed drivers possess their license while driving, but not having your license in your possession is only an infraction, and worst case scenario will typically result in only a $50 fine, which most judges historically have almost always dismissed if you show up in court with proof that your license was valid at the time you were pulled over.
Yes.
So a $50 fine is responsible for...
Well, no, not a $50 fine is responsible because it was fake license plate, right? That's why he was pulled over. It wasn't the license that would pull him over. It was the license plate, right? It wasn't a legitimate.
Either way, okay. So he still didn't pay the King's ransom to use the King's highway.
Yes,
that's what cost this kid his life.
So, and it's and the way that they get around the free transit clause within the Constitution for license plates is they say, well, we're not interfering with your right to transit freely. We're interfering with you need to pay taxes. It's a tax, which we're allowed to charge. Yes. And you failed to pay a tax.
Yes.
But
and that's their argument every single time.
To not be...
but rights only exist if you have the ability to enforce them.
Yes.
That's what I'm getting at. That's the rights in regards to all the firearm stuff that we talked about today.
Yep.
Rights only exist if you have the ability to force them. If you don't have the ability to force them, you have permissions. Not in privileges. You exist at the leisure of the state. You exist at the leisure of the road agent. You exist at the leisure
not only
of the mob.
Well, yeah. Remember that as long as qualified immunity exists, in particular, right within the United States, as long as qualified immunity exists, you exist at and survive at the leisure of any given law enforcement officer.
Yep.
If any one of them chooses to kill you, they can.
Yep.
At will.
Yeah. You know, we talked about it before about mean time to harassment, right? Like this kid had an illegitimate license plate. He got pulled over because he had an illegitimate license plate. I'm not in this kid's shoes. I don't know his mind, right? His thought, what he was taught, his life, etc. But in my opinion, I ride in a registered vehicle because that $328 or whatever I pay is less than the worth of my life. I pay it because I don't want to be shot in the face. Right? That's my reality, and I accept that.
It's about picking your battles.
Does it suck to pay it? Absolutely. Pisses me off every time.
Pick your battles.
Same with all these gun laws, right? The Washington, right, with the assault weapons ban, Missouri with the Second Amendment Preservation Act, the FBI, right, Duncan, going all the way back to Duncan Lemp. Your freedoms, your rights, you have to be pragmatic about them.
Mm-hmm.
You can stand on a street corner and say, I have the right to do this, I have the right to do that. Cops will shoot you in the face. They don't care about your rights. The mob doesn't care about your rights. They don't care about your pragmatism. They don't care about your freedoms. They don't care about your ideologies.
Yep. And it's been vetted out in multiple court cases. They don't have to care.
No.
Yeah.
No, they don't have to care. They don't even have to know them.
Nope.
Yeah. The thing
you have to, but they don't.
Yeah. Here's the way that I look at it. Right. The way that I look at it is this. I know that I'm free. I act free. I will always act free. I am free because I say that I fucking am. And if I must obey a law to save my life, I will obey it as long as it is required to save my life. Mm-hmm. Other than that, I will ignore it at all times. That is how I look at it. That is what makes you free. Mm-hmm. Right? If you have that mentality, you are not a slave. You are not somebody who is enslaved. You are simply somebody who is oppressed. You are doing things that are free, and you have to occasionally pretend that you care what they have to say. That's a mentality shift, and it's a mentality shift that makes a huge difference. That once you reach that I will do anything I want whenever I want, and no one will ever stop me. And I will only not do them as long as law enforcement is looking at me. Right? It's like the whole reason people want fuzzbusters, right? Is so that they can slow down when the cops are watching and they can speed back up when they're not watching anymore. That's the whole, like, that's that mentality. Extend that to the rest of your life, right? Like your whole life. It's ignore any law that you find intolerable at will. And as long as you do that, you're free. You're just oppressed.
Yes.
Yep.
The thing that you need to remember is there are certain things that the state will kill you very, very easily for. And those are not necessarily worth your life.
No,
if you can avoid it.
They will kill you for it. And people will cheer them.
Yes. People will go, well, but they were just a bad person. Well, why? Because they broke the law. Okay, but the law is immoral. But they broke the law.
Yes.
Yep.
But the law is immoral. But they broke the law.
Your morals are not their morals. Their morals are not Jim Bob's morals. They're not Antifa's morals. They're not Joe Biden's morals. They're not Kamala Harris's morals. Yes.
Yeah. That's what it is you need to remember that you will die for nothing if you choose to stand up for the wrong thing.
I respect the shit out of Duncan Lemp, right?
Duncan Lemp didn't die for nothing. Duncan Lemp didn't do anything. Duncan Lemp was trying.
He's a hashtag.
Yeah.
What's happened in the last 3 years? He's simply a hashtag.
Right, but he didn't even break any real laws.
I know. I agree. He didn't break any real laws. Right? And they still killed him. Right? And what has come of that? Right? There was a protest with like 40 people on the anniversary of his death. And that's it. Now he's just a hashtag.
That's pretty much it.
Hashtag.
There will be the thing is Duncan Lemp will be remembered like Crispus Attucks, right? Like we remember Crispus Attucks. What did Crispus Attucks' death change in 1775?
Yes.
Nothing.
Yep.
It changed nothing. But we remember it, don't we? We remember him. We remember him as the first martyr, right? And we will remember Duncan Lemp that way. But that doesn't do him any good, does it?
Nope. It doesn't help that his kid's being raised by someone else.
That doesn't help him. That doesn't make his life better because his life ended for him to be a martyr. for the cause. And the thing is he wasn't a meaningless martyr, right? Like what he was trying to do was he was trying to connect us in a way that government couldn't monitor, and that's what they were pissed off about.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And that's why they assassinated him. The thing is, if all you get assassinated for is I don't want a license plate, no one will even remember your name.
Mhm.
Yep.
You did nothing. You fought for nothing. That was a dumb fucking battle. That's like you randomly attacking a 50,000 man army single-handedly out of nowhere. What was the point of that? You threw your life away for no fucking reason. There are causes. There are purposes. There are things that are worth throwing your life away on. That is not one of them. Let's be honest. That's not one of them.
No, it's not.
Is it wrong? Is it immoral that they make you pay them blood money to use your own property? No. That's not, we're not saying that that's not wrong, that that's not immoral, that they should be able to do that. But you got to pick your battles intelligently. And you have to understand that you are fighting against an entity that has an enormous amount of resources.
Enormous amount of resources and zero
Infinite.
fucks.
I was gonna say they have.
Yeah.
Wow, that was weird.
Whoa, that was weird.
Yeah,
That
my
was lovely.
headset's somehow paired to my phone, and then I got a phone call. So
Oh, lovely. That's a terrible ringtone.
Yeah, that's
it only plays on the headset. It never plays out. It never plays on. The
not really my choice of ringtone, but I mean, I guess.
To each his own, I guess, right?
Yeah,
It was
I
recorded.
mean, but
It was recorded next to a toy. So
it's
Completely
suddenly.
Just completely sidetracked our conversation. On that
Yeah.
one. Why is the
But my
NSA
point-
calling you?
yeah,
Yeah.
why is the NSA
Yeah.
is calling me to get me to snitch on you guys, and it ain't gonna happen.
But my point is though is like that, like you have to pick your battles, right? Like
battles.
there are battles worth fighting, and there are battles worth fighting, to be sure. But your license plate isn't one. Your driver's license isn't one. Like those are worthless things to throw your life away on.
Mean time to harassment, right? That's a term that we've said before. Look it up. Basically, what it means is that doing something against the state. There's a timeline. There's a timeline between doing something against the state and when the state comes down on you for it.
Yep.
Yes. Having registered in your vehicle, right? Taxes suck. Taxation is theft. It's extortion. I understand. I get that completely. But having a registered vehicle limits the state's reason to come down on you.
Have a criminal mindset.
Yes.
Have a criminal mindset.
Because you are a criminal in their eyes.
We all
Because you
are.
are a
Even,
criminal in their
you
eyes.
could follow every single law to the letter, and as far as they're concerned, you are a criminal.
So, like, use the fact that you comply with all of the little shit so that you can get away with the big shit.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh,
It's all right. He's been waiting for a bunch of 9mm ammo, and it's just not going to happen.
you're cutting shells off.
Phoenix put out a video the other day that they were making 10 mil.
Yeah.
Oh.
I've only been asking for it from them for 2 years.
Well.
The
they
true
listened.
Lord's caliber.
Yeah.
I thought 45.
Oh. But I mean, that's
What was that?
the thing is,
blasphemy
though-
that just came out of your mouth?
All right, final thoughts. Throw out some final thoughts.
the
Give me a white pill.
give you
What's
a
up?
white pill.
Give me a white pill. Let's end this on a white pill.
I think the white pill, the biggest white pill I can give you is that the majority of people do in fact have an attitude of fuck the law. They do in fact not care about what the law says and are willing to break the law at will when it suits them. That is the majority of people. They actually will do that. Mm-hmm. The question is, how do we push them enough to no longer want to ever comply?
We don't have to push them. The government pushes them.
Yeah.
The worse the government gets. As I said with that Washington bill, I hope that Washington bill pass. I absolutely hope that Washington assault weapons ban pass, because there are a lot of motherfuckers in Washington that are heavily armed, that train, that know how to shoot. Fort Lewis is right there, bro. There's a lot of people in that area that can swing a big stick. And the worse it gets for them, the more are willing to pick up the end of that stick. It has to get worse before it gets better.
I think that, you know, the words of wisdom that I have to say is, you need to remember that you need to draw your line.
Yes.
No one can draw your line for you. No one can tell you where that line is. Mm-hmm. But you need to find that line. Where is your line where you truly will not continue to comply past it? Where you will finally stand up.
When do we stop referring to Brandenburg v. Ohio? Or when do I stop referring to Brandenburg v. Ohio? There you go.
Yeah. No one can tell you where that line is. No one can tell you where that line is. That is a line that you must find on your own. That is a line that you have to decide on. Each individual person. And no one is going to judge you for where that is, as long as you have it. Mm-hmm. But there must be a line. You must find that line.
All right, let's wrap it up. Let's throw out some plugs and get out of here.
I'll make mine short and sweet. Coffee, tea, cocoa. Check out the link in the description and down below. And hey, you support the channel, you support me, you'll love it.
Yep. He's on fire on Twitter, by the way.
Jeremy?
The quartering's Twitter is just fucking lit.
It is. He's actually a really good follow.
No. Andrew.
Awesome. All right. So if you want to care for... All right. Hang on. I got a bunch of shit. So if you want to care for your beard like a Viking, like I do, you will go to thebeardstruggle.com. Use code InkedAnarchist15 and get 15% off of your order. And you also support me at the same time, and you get all sorts of cool stuff. They have fabulous scents. They have great beard washes, beard conditioners, beard straighteners. The beard straightener is like gold, and it's got carbon fiber, and it's awesome. They even have stuff for the ladies in your life. They have all sorts of cool stuff. If you are a lady, they have stuff for your life, I guess, too. I'm not here to judge. But anyway, they have all sorts of cool shit, and you should go check them out. It's thebeardstruggle.com. Use code InkedAnarchist15. I am also an affiliate of RK Spookware. If you know what they do, you know why you need them, and they make some cool shit. They have some cool patches, too, actually. And 3D printer, go burr, and use the link in our link tree, and you support me when you go do it. So you should go use that. Also, I am an affiliate of, it's out of my reach, I'm not going to bother, but Reaper Brand Apparel. Reaper Brand Apparel has some fantastic designs. They have really cool stuff, and they have a fantastic message that helps you to transform yourself, which I am a very big fan of. I think it's awesome. If you take their 10-day Broken Not Defeated challenge, it will change your life. And you can check out their Broken Not Defeated collection. You can check out their other stuff. They're absolutely awesome. Check out their Instagram. It's so worth it. They are so cool, and I'm so happy that I'm affiliated with them. Also, check out Lions Not Sheep, also an apparel company, and I am also affiliated with them. Again, description, discount, all that cool stuff. Lions Not Cheap has all sorts of cool stuff. They have cool patches. They have cool all sorts of crap, and it's all gun related. And again, it's about being a lion and not a sheep. Their Free Man t-shirt is one of my personal favorites that they have. I've worn it on the show before, and it's super awesome because free men do not ask permission to bear arms. Who else do I have? Buy Derica's book. It's called Think for Yourself Thinking Workbook for Beginners. It is a thing. It is a workbook. It is for beginners. Please remember that and utilize the skills taught in the book before you leave a review, or we will laugh at you for not doing so. I'm sure there are people that I'm forgetting. It's in our link tree, though. Anybody that I've forgotten?
Yes. Okay, quick. Wendigoon, a good follow on Twitter. He says that strawberries and cream Dr. Pepper is the greatest thing he's ever drank, and I don't know how to feel about that.
That's possible. That's possible.
Credibility.
That is possible. Oh, one last one. Dave, Poppins patches. I didn't see him on tonight, but check out his patches.
He's not at industry event, airsoft event.
He's about 3.5 hours north of me in the Twin Cities currently at an airsoft event. Selling patches, but he's there. And hi, Dave, if you're listening to this or watching it. But yeah, Dave's up there. Check out his patches. They're super high quality. They're super awesome. And I love them, and we all love them. And we've all bought lots of stuff. And we've helped him with a bunch of designs. And he just released the Patch Pimp one based on one of the things we said on this show. So that's super cool. So check him out.
Strawberry and cream Dr. Pepper. I just sounds wrong to me.
Ladies, please don't drink. Please, ladies, don't drink Dr. Pepper. I'm begging you. Don't do it. There's plum in it. It's one of the primary flavors, and plum plus vagina, not good. Please don't do it.
You heard it here first. We'll catch you on the next one.